into another edition of the Chicago Style Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Sager. It's Mock Draft Friday. So let's get right into it. We're going to do Mel Kiper's mock draft that he just dropped a few days ago. 2-rounder. When we look at the top 10, that's what we really got to focus on is who goes where early. Does Shedeur go in the top 10? There's some that have him falling. There's some. This draft, nobody knows anything, it seems like, because everybody is different. Normally, Mel Kiper, he sources his info. He goes out and he talks to a lot of people, and he puts guys where he thinks they will be drafted to. Not just, oh, I want this guy to go here, I want this guy to go here. This is what he's hearing. So normally, he's pretty spot on, at least in that top 10. It seems like a foregone conclusion that the Tennessee Titans are taking Cam Ward at 1. So let's just put that there. 2, the Cleveland Browns. This is where it gets interesting. Some have them taking Abdul Carter. Some have them taking Travis Hunter. The talk lately has seemed like it's shifted to Hunter. I know you have Myles Garrett. I know you need playmakers. Passing on Abdul Carter is tough for me, but I get it because you just signed Myles Garrett to a massive extension. You feel like you have your pass rusher, but you never have too much rushing the quarterback. Never too much of that. But Travis Hunter's coming into this draft as a player unlike we've seen in a very, very, very long time. He can play both sides of the ball. He's very good at both sides of the ball. What does he do in the NFL? That's kind of a wait and see. Who's the quarterback in Cleveland that's throwing to him if he's playing wide receiver? You know, it's just one of those things that, you know, you're going to, if he goes to Cleveland, it's the AFC North. It's very physical. Even the wide receivers are physical, talking about DK Metcalf, George Pickens. The Ravens are always a very physical team. And then the Bengals, you have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, you know, with Joe Burrow at quarterback. So that'd be a tough place for him to go and play corner right away, but he can do it. He's very good. So 2, he has them taking Travis Hunter. Again, that's the talk as we lead into it. New York Giants, Abdul Carter. Makes sense. This is not the time to reach for a quarterback, especially like Shedeur Sanders, who doesn't just have, oh my God, skills. He doesn't have, I would rather wait till maybe round 2 and take Jackson Dart if you want to take a young quarterback, if he's still available. I think he will be. I don't think we see more than 2 quarterbacks in this first round. Maybe if Shedeur is picked early in the top 10, say the Saints take him at 9, maybe you have the Steelers, you know, say we're gonna just make the move and take Jackson Dart and see what happens, because right now it's Mason Rudolph in Pittsburgh. Number 4 is the New England Patriots taking Will Campbell. This is starting to emerge as a likely destination for Will Campbell, is the Patriots. Now, if Shedeur were to happen to go 2 to Cleveland, then that throws everything in turmoil when it comes to Will Campbell to the Patriots at 4, because then you have Carter, assuming Ward goes 1, you have Carter and Travis Hunter both available. So then what would the Giants do? Do they still take Carter? Do they take Hunter? And then who's left over for the Patriots? They would most likely take one of those guys. Number 5 is another one that seems to be kind of set in stone as we get closer to the draft, and that's Mason Graham to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Makes a ton of sense. They need pieces on that defensive line. He's the best interior defensive lineman in this draft by quite a bit, in my opinion. It just seems like that's a likely pick. 6 is where it gets interesting. They just signed Geno Smith to the extension, so cross Shedeur Sanders off the board. They need a lot of help everywhere. But Mel Kiper has them taking Ashton Jeanty. Now, I get it. It's a splash, and the Raiders love to make splashes. Would I go that route? No. Take Armand Menbu, the offensive lineman out of Missouri. I think he would make more sense for the Raiders at 6. Geno still needs weapons. I know they have Brock Bowers. I know a lot of people seem to be dropping Tet McMillan, but then some have him rising back up and still in the top 10, so you don't know what to expect. I could see him being a shocker of a pick at 6, just to get Geno Smith more weapons. But again, I would take the safe pick. Take Membu. He's your starting right tackle or whatever spot you need. He can fill it, in my opinion, right away. Number 8, he has Jalen Walker. Or excuse me, let's go back to 7. I was talking about Membu. I thought I'd mention he has him going 7 to the Jets. Makes a ton of sense. Get Justin Fields some protection. It's a safe, good pick for the Jets who need some of that. I mean, Justin Fields is a wild card. You never know what he's going to bring, but you know he's going to get sacked, and you know he's going to make some wow plays and some plays that make you say, wow, what was that? So Membu to 7 to the Jets makes a ton of sense. 8, he has Jalen Walker, Georgia. This is a lot of people. This is a player a lot of people have way down their boards for some reason. If he fits your style, Jalen Walker is the type of player you want because he's versatile. He can play off the ball, early rundowns. He can go on the edge on passing downs. He can play the edge on rundowns if you really want him to. He wouldn't be great there, but this is a guy that's very versatile when it comes to playing off the ball and on the ball. And I think as he grows and matures even more, he can be a very, very good edge player. I've seen some comps to Micah Parsons because he's done that, but I think Jalen Walker is more of just a back and forth guy like Parsons was early in his career. Parsons is mainly just an edge now. That's his position. I don't know that Jalen Walker ever gets to that, but this kid has a ton of talent. So 9, he does have the Saints taking Shedeur Sanders. Now, if you're a Bears fan that's wanting to trade down, you want Sanders on the board. You want Pittsburgh calling. You want maybe Indy. I don't know that they would be, but maybe Indy. Maybe a team, surprises you in calls if it's the Rams, who sit, I think, at 24. The Rams, no, they're at 26. So Shedeur Sanders to the Saints. Hey, it's a splash move. I don't think I'd take it with the situation going on in New Orleans with the cap and everything. They need a total reset, and for some reason, they just don't do it. Kellen Moore gets his quarterback, though, and then we see what happens, but that's a dangerous pick. That seems like someone's getting fired for that pick at 9. Number 10, he has the Bears taking Tyler Warren, tight end out of Penn State. Kid has a ton of talent. And yes, he played with a lot of good tight ends over the years. Had a massive year last year with Drew Aller at quarterback. They went to the playoff, won a game, I'm pretty sure. And Warren was a big reason why. Now, here's my thing. If I'm the Bears and I'm taking a tight end, I want Coleston Loveland. I think he's the better receiver. If you want to go check out Nate Tice's piece on yahoo.com, I read that a couple weeks ago, I think it was, talking about how he believes that Loveland's going to be the better inline blocker as he matures and gets, stronger and all that. He shows more of a willingness, whereas Warren is more of at least what Nate Tice was talking about, he feasts on corners and safeties. So I'm a Loveland fan over Tyler Warren. Also, Coleston Loveland's almost 2 years younger than Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren's about to turn 23, I think at the end of May, and Coleston Loveland turns 21 here in a few weeks, right before the draft. So, I mean, it's almost a 2-year difference. To me, that's a major difference when we're looking at it as Coleston Loveland played 3 years in college, was a very good player all 3 years, even as a true freshman, showed flashes. And I think he can be the Sam Laporta-like player that that Ben Johnson had in Detroit. So I would take Loveland over Warren. Would I be mad with Warren? No, not at all. He's a very good player. I prefer Coleston Loveland over Tyler Warren. Then he has Will Johnson, the cornerback out of Michigan, going 11. Omarion Hampton. See, now that's where the Bears need that running back spot. And a lot of people have talked about, could they go Hampton at 10? I don't think so. And I don't know that Dallas does either. I think you're more looking at a Tet McMillan, if they want just a sturdy, steady wide receiver, a Mecca Ibuka. But, and then go get a guy in the second round if it's Caleb Johnson, if it's Quinson Judkins, who the Bears will also be looking at in the second round with both of their picks. So Omarion Hampton going 12 is interesting in Mel Kiper's mock. I think Hampton does go in the first round at some point, but I don't think it's 12. Then he has Jahdae Barron, corner out of Texas, going to Miami. Coleston Loveland, the tight end I talked about out of Michigan, going to the Colts at 14. Mike Green, 15. Matthew Golden. Jihad Campbell, going 17. Kelvin Banks, 18 to the Seahawks. Amanawari, going 19 to the Bucks, and then there goes Tet McMillan at 20 to the Denver Broncos. Okay, so I mentioned, do the Steelers take a quarterback? He hasn't taken Derek Harmon. Interesting pick there. He has Gray Zabel going to the Chargers, who, Jim Harbaugh loves offensive linemen. He loves nasty offensive lineman, and that's what Gray Zabel is. I think that's a perfect fit there in LA with the Chargers. Michael Williams going to the Green Bay Packers. That's an interesting fit there with how they do things. Donovan Jackson, who I really like, is one of my guys for the second round if he's there. But he has him going 24 to the Vikings. Josh Connerly, 25 to the Texans, who need offensive line help. I've heard talk that they love Josh Simmons. I've also heard the Chiefs love Josh Simmons. So interesting that he has Connerly going to the Texans instead of Simmons. Rams going quarterback with Starks to the Ravens, which is just a very good pick. Just a very Ravens pick. Let's just take the best player that's left. And I think Starks is a top 15 player in this class. They get him at 27. And then just some defensive players to round out. Josh Simmons going 31 to the Chiefs. James Pierce to the Eagles. This is another one where the Eagles do what they do. They lose guys along the defensive line. They just come back in the first round and draft a guy who falls to them. Or they make a little trade up like they did with the Bears for Jalen Carter. They take these guys that maybe have a little bit of a character issue that we hear about. Pierce is supposedly, how much does he love football? But he has the Eagles taking him at 32. Again, that's just one of those, you do it because you can. So what does he have the Bears doing in the second round? He's got them taking at 39 Walter Nolan, which is interesting because you look at Javon Dexter, you look at Grady Jarrett, and Walter Nolan. They're all very similar players. So I don't know how that would work. I know I'm a Michigan fan. I understand it looks like homerism, but it's really not. You have Kenneth Grant still on the board at 39 and 41. I think he has to be the pick over Walter Nolan because we saw when Billings was out last year, they couldn't stop the run. Grady Jarrett's not going to help that. You need another big one technique nose tackle type guy, and Kenneth Grant is that. He should be a first round pick. And it's not just because he went to Michigan. Go watch his tape. Who's 340 pounds, moves like he's 310. He can also rush the passer on passing downs if you need him to. If he's there at 39, he has to be the pick. Unless someone else crazy falls as well. But, I mean, in this scenario, Kenneth Grant has to be the pick at 39, but he has Walter Nolan, another 3 technique, who's very good, who I think is higher than this. I think Grant and Nolan should be taken in the top 20 picks, the top 22 picks. I think they're that good. So them dropping to this spot is kind of interesting to me because I think both players are better than where they're being drafted. At 41, he has them taking Travion Henderson. I love this pick. I don't care that he resembles what DeAndre Swift can do. DeAndre Swift has one more year here. You get the guy you want at running back. And if it's not Henderson, you want Judkins or you want Caleb Johnson or you want somebody else, assuming Hampton and Janty are off the board. Get the guy you want. And if it's Travion Henderson, great. Because he's going to fill the slasher role. When you look at Gibbs and Montgomery, everybody talks about that. We need our Gibbs and our Montgomery. Okay, but you can't just take a guy because you think if you have Travion Henderson well above Quinshon Judkins, you take Travion Henderson, you just deal with it for a year. So he has them taking Travion Henderson quick. Dude's just a very good running back. And if you're trying to, again, think, okay, should they go edge? Should they? I understand that, but I feel like the edges, I don't know. I can't even say that because I just like the pick of Travion Henderson. He has Kenneth Grant going 43 to the Niners. Some people want offensive line. I get that. You're going Tyler Warren. You're going Walter Nolan. You're going Travion Henderson. Okay, what is, you'd have to look through and see who's left on his board. Trying to see, you could also use a third safety at some point. You could also use, I'm not seeing a guy who I think could flash and be a very good defensive end, and he fits exactly what Dennis Allen likes to do, and that's Landon Jackson out of Arkansas. Dude's about 6'7", 265, but he has a nice bend around the edge. I think he can get even better as he grows in the NFL. Nick Scorton's another guy who I think could be available at the Bears in that second round pick that they could like. Prince Umanliaman, I don't see him in his second round. So you got both Umanliaman and Landon Jackson not going in Mel Kiper's 2-round mock draft. So at 72, you could be like, okay, let's go make a move and get one of these guys or hope one of them falls to you in the third round because you got about the 10th pick in the third round as well. So, or like the 8th pick, something like that. So a lot of different ways we can go, but we're getting close, just a few weeks away. Joe and I will be back together next week. He was busy at work all week this week, so we weren't able to get together and do a podcast this week, but we will get it done. We're going to be doing a draft show. I know Friday morning after the first round. We'll also put in our final thoughts earlier in the week, talk about what we think the Bears are going to do, because now we're at the point where what do they do? Not what do we think they should do? What will they do? And number 10's wide open. Number 10 is wide open. So we'll see. But that'll do it for me. Another edition of Chicago Style Podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at Adam G. Sager. Same thing on Instagram, TikTok, Threads. If you're on there, I think I'm the same thing as well. Use that during the first day of free agency when Twitter went down, because of course, why wouldn't Twitter go down on one of the biggest days of the year for the NFL? Just makes a lot of sense. So, all right. That'll do it for me. We will talk to you guys soon. Peace.